Good morning, everyone. Before I get started, I know that many of you have heard, seen on the news, a story that just happened at our airport on Tuesday. And if you have not seen it, I dare say that you may have been in a vacuum because it was a story that broke. It was only a 2-hour event, but it has reached over 159 million passengers or at least hits. It was on The Tonight Show, it was on MSNBC, The Good Morning America, Today's Show, and a lot of people ask me, what happened? So here we go.
Now a story that has many people talking about a monkey with Rhode Island ties escaped a Texas airport after being flown halfway across the country.
All right, so this monkey came from Brown University and was headed to an animal sanctuary to relax and have his retirement. Eyewitness News reporter Julianne Lima is live in the newsroom with the new developments.
Well, Danielle and Patrick, the monkey was a research animal at Brown University. He was on his way to his retirement home in Texas when he escaped from his crate at the San Antonio airport. Now, this is some new cell phone video that shows the monkey exploring the baggage area underneath the terminal. Now, the monkey named Dawkins was on the loose for nearly 2 hours. Airport officials say Dawkins' crate was being moved from the plane's cargo hold to the baggage area when it opened and he got out. Dawkins was never a threat to passengers and no one was hurt. It took an army of people, though, to eventually catch Dawkins, shooting him with a tranquilizer gun. None of the flights were impacted. However, there was a slight backup at baggage claim.
Unique experience for sure. I don't believe I've ever encountered a baggage delay due to baboons.
We waited for the experts to arrive, and then it was like watching a special operations push into combat territory. They knew exactly how to surround the animal.
Representatives from Brown University released a statement explaining the animal's relocation as, quote, part of the university's commitment to animal well-being. We were pleased to learn that officials resolved the situation safely and that the macaque's transport to the sanctuary will be completed successfully. And we did learn Dawkins arrived at the Born Free USA sanctuary last night, and he's doing just fine. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Julianne Lima, Eyewitness News.
That's the story of Dawkins. So again, I arrived on Sunday to do this presentation, but after this happened and everybody started asking, I just wanted to share with you. And then next week, we're planning to take Dawkins a basket of bananas to welcome him to San Antonio. So now let's stop monkeying around and get to the business at hand. $5. So let me give you a little bit of information about our airport. Well, I'll do me first. So I am the Chief Customer Experience Officer for the San Antonio Airport System, which has 2 airports, and I'll give you a little bit of information about that shortly. Under my management is marketing, public relations, customer experience, the ambassador program, arts, music, and culture, and I'm about to get terminal services. So anything that deals with the experience that a passenger may have in our airport comes through my area. We also have a dotted line to our tenants, to our airlines, to our concessionaires. So if anything goes awry or anything that's going well, it typically comes through our department. So let you look at it. So again, some information about us. We have 2 airports under our system, over 90 million passengers. Over the last 18 months, we've had consecutive passenger increases. And the thing that I really, really like is this says 43 nonstop destinations, but we've grown that over a 2-year period. And we had a record number of passengers in 2017, which means that air traffic is up. And I'm sure all of you know that. And this presentation is about employee engagement and enhancing the experience that they have. And so we do a lot of, but before I go into that, I believe that the 4 pillars of any successful customer experience initiative, and notice I don't say program, because programs come and go. And so this initiative for us has been standards, training, measurement, and recognition. Recognition, obviously, is one of the most important things that we have been finding from our engagement surveys that we do to our passengers, to our customers. And I say our customers because our internal customers are just that. We treat them just like our external customers. So how do we do that? How do we get feedback? Well, the first thing we do is we do employee engagement surveys. We do them with all of our employees all the time. We want to know, what do you think? Because they are our front facing and our front lines. So we want to hear from them about what they think is important, what they see, what they don't see, what they like, what they want us to change. And there's a resounding theme that we continue to receive in addition to all the things that they feel like we need to improve. But of course, they want more money and they want to be recognized more. They want to have fun. And so I'll show you some things that we're doing. Another thing is we not only do satisfaction surveys for our external customers, but we do them for our internal customers. Because again, we want to know, we do several different types of surveys. We do the Airport Quality Service, which is ASQ through Airport Council International, and that's a quarterly survey that we measure ourselves or benchmark ourselves over other airports of similar size. We also we're working with J.D. Power to do our surveys through them. We do mystery shop surveys. We survey. And I totally agree that what gets measured gets managed. We do supplemental surveys because we want to drill down and get more specific things. On the ASQ survey, they do a broad survey and they ask the basic questions of all airports. And so one of the questions that we would always get is, or score that will be low, would be Wi-Fi. So we did a supplemental survey because we wanted to see, well, why is it? Is it because it's not free? Because they don't know that we have it? It's a connectivity issue. There's not enough bandwidth. And when we realized that people just didn't know that it was free, we could start marketing that. And so those scores went up from there. Again, we do the supplemental surveys because it's a way for us to do a deeper dive to be able to understand. And we do that deeper dive with both internal and external customers because we cannot change it if we don't know what it is, and we don't want to speculate about what we think it is because we want to know for sure. We do town hall meetings. Our aviation director that was on there, we have a town hall meeting once a quarter, and in that meeting we do 3 different meetings. We have an early morning meeting for those that work overnight, we have a midday meeting, and then we have a late meeting so that we can capture all of our 24-hour employees. And I will say, because our aviation director is so open and honest, a lot of times, when he first started the town halls, people were a little hesitant about coming up and saying what they didn't like, what they did like. We don't have that problem anymore. They run to the mic because not only do they get a chance to voice their concerns or their comments, but we make them actionable because we follow up on what they say, and then people can say, oh, okay, I talked about this last quarter and I see that you all are working toward it. So that gives them the option of being able to say it and see some results from when we come back to them. And then we have brown bag lunches where we just kind of sit around the table and have a conversation. I absolutely love the San Antonio International Airport team. And I say team, and I'm not just talking about the airport employees, but I'm talking about from the concessions, from the airlines, because we have a great relationship. And see, for me, because I wear so many different hats and have so many divisions under me, I have to have those relationships. So when I call up a concessionaire and say, hey, I got this comment, I don't get that pushback. Or when I call TSA and I say, there's an issue with something, They know because I've been having conversations with them all along. So it's not just I'm calling them when something's bad. I also call them when there's something good. But I'm the fun person. I'm the fun area, and everybody, wants to come and work with us because they never know what we're going to do next, because I'm always trying to do something different. So I wanted to make sure that with the employee engagement surveys that we do, we get that feedback. And I have found, because I started my career at the Atlanta airport where I worked for 15 years, and we did something similar there. And then I left there and went to the Houston airport system where I worked for 3.5 years, and now I'm in San Antonio. So it's not something that I'm reinventing the wheel. It's something that's been successful at a major large hub airport to a medium size and now to maybe even a smaller airport. But it's important for you to get that engagement from your teammates, because if you don't, they're the front lines and they see a whole lot of things that we don't see. Sometimes we just become oblivious to things because we're so used to it. It's almost like if you're driving home one day and you're so tired from the day, and then you get home and you're like, wait, did I pass by? Because you just become oblivious to it. But our frontline team members are the ones that are out there dealing with it every day. So as fun as you can see, in San Antonio, we have an event, a day called Fiesta. And so it's not really a day, it's actually a 10-day event, and it's a party with a purpose. So when we do have that, the city has parades on the Riverwalk, and everybody has Fiesta parades, everybody dresses up, and so I had my arts, culture, and music teammate came to me, and he said, why don't we do a Fiesta parade in the airport? Wait, what? So everybody started saying, well, how are you going to do that, and what are you going to do? This thing absolutely took off, and if you can see down in the corners, you can see the different entities that participated. We had Clear, we had HMS Host, we had the concessionaires. Southwest Airlines built a 3-tier float where they had their employees standing on the float. They used luggage carts for floats, and they decorated. It was amazing. We had over 250 participants in a float in the airport. And now everybody's like, okay, I want to be in it next year. They had Fiesta crowns. It was just a major event. Then, of course, in the upper corner, you see we had Dr. Seuss Day. Of course, everybody knows Dr. Seuss. But what we want to do is we want to get out and we want to engage not only with our internal customers, but with our external customers. But our internal customers, once we told them that that's what we're going to do, they dressed up as well. The top picture, of course, all the things, we had thing 1 through thing 8, and so they went out and they talked to children, and we had coloring books and crayons and things of that nature. But the employers were like, okay, we want to participate too. Once again, we're engaging them, because if they're happy, then they're going to make our external customers happy. In the bottom corner, you see all our members of our executive team, the males. I didn't wear a tie that day, but I typically will. But they all have on their Dr. Seuss ties. So it was a concerted effort of everybody to take part in that. So we, again, have fun with that. So in Atlanta, one thing that we did was we have a recognition program. And you can see how many people that participated in the recognition program, because everybody wanted to know, how can I become a winner? And they knew that we gave away some good stuff. So down at the bottom was the aviation director at the time, excuse me, where we gave away a car. We actually 2 years in a row gave away a car. And first, before you ask, well, how'd you get a car? Well, when the Ford Focus became a new vehicle that Ford was trying to promote, they wanted it in the Atlanta airport because of the millions of passengers that traveled through there. So they said, if you allow us to keep the car in the airport for 3 months, we'll give it to you. And we were like, okay. So that was a great idea, grand gesture. The employees knew, if you provide above and beyond service, that you could qualify to win this prize. So we didn't have to do a whole lot of promotion on that. Well, it was great for 2 years. And then, for the first year it was great. The second year, not so much, because of course they had to pay the taxes on it. And so it was wonderful for us, but for somebody that couldn't afford to pay the taxes, it was a problem. And then we had another prize where an airline offered us a round trip ticket to San Francisco for 2 that include a hotel, airfare, rental car, and a stipend for you to use to spend while you're there. One of our cleaning team members won it. Well, she couldn't go because she couldn't find anybody to keep her kids. So yeah, that was my reaction. It's like, you know, and so we're thinking, okay, we got all of these great prizes, these trips and this, but for somebody that is in that state that they can't either, you know, afford to take off to go be able to do it, it's really not a thing for them. But so what we did, we went back and we said, hey, if you were a top winner, what would you like? And what do you think the number one thing was? Jail? Oh, day off? Day off? Money. Well, I thought she said jail. She said a day off. I'm sorry. I don't know how I got that mixed up. Because they're not even close. Yeah. So we, again, asked that question, and it was money. And being a city entity, of course, we couldn't give money. So I'm like, okay, what can we do? I'm always thinking outside of the box. I'm always one of those individuals that says, I ask for forgiveness and permission. So I'm like, okay, what can we do? So I said, how about gift cards? The same as cash, but not really cash. So the concessionaires and the airlines, they actually sponsor the event. So they pay for tables so they can have bronze. We have 3 levels, bronze, silver, and gold. So they have to give a certain dollar amount in gift cards. So the first year we did it, we collected 4,000 gift cards. It was like, wait, what? No, we collected more than that. We gave away 4,000 gift cards. So what we did was we took the gift cards from the gas station, from the grocery store, from wherever. We just pulled them out, threw them on the table, and put in, like, those bags were filled with gift cards. So we may have $1,000 in each one or $500 in each one. And so the winners that came up, they got a chance to pick a bag, and whatever was in that bag was what they got. And so it was extremely successful. The first person that won, she came to me, her husband came to me. We had another event, and he pulled me to the side. He said, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what did I do? I mean, and I thought he should have been happy, but I'm like, but it was weird that he just came up to me. And so he pulled me to the side, and he said, thank you so much. He said, we can buy groceries, we can buy diapers, we can buy gas on this. So then everybody starts saying, how do I? But again, we got in their heads, so they're starting to look for that opportunity to wow a customer. So very, very successful. And then in Houston, we did the similar thing. We always have food, because you have food, people will come. But we did our first ever flash mob. Yeah, that's what that is over there. And it was, again, highly successful, but it was the employees giving back. So now they're saying, hey, what else do you need us to do? Because we know that we're going to have some fun. We're going to do something. It's going to be something in it for us. So we're always trying to do that. Now, this last one, we're about to introduce what's called the Wyman Awards. And it's a very dear friend of mine who was there, and he passed away. But we have named the awards after him, and so his family is going to come in, and we're going to do a big presentation for them. But all the employees that we talked to, from the concessionaires, the airlines that knew him, thought that this was amazing, and they're like, okay, we want to participate. But the bottom line of what I'm saying is we engage our customers externally and internally. We ask them a lot of questions because we want to know what's going to drive you to be the better you for us. And so that's where we find out. And as a result of that, we have been an award-winning airport for the last 3 years, which means everybody is happy. Now, are they happy all the time? Absolutely not. I wouldn't stand up here and let you think that we're just wonderful all the time. We run around a lot of times with like a chicken with our head cut off, most especially with Dawkins on Tuesday. But as you can see, we pull together, and we always do, and make sure that everybody is performing or doing what they need to be doing for the success of the airport. So that's all I have for you today. I will be happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen. That was amazing.
You're welcome.
I know she had to change that presentation again, back and forth. So it was a little hard work at the last point. It was a playoff game kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay, so let me have some questions. I was reading some articles about San Antonio's, international airport, and being a very frequent international traveler. I've heard, and I don't know how the stats are, but 22% raise in, compared to last year, you have a 22% raise in the international passengers. So, and I know with the growth the San Antonio airport is going, and one of the stats is again 700 passengers passed through the terminal in just January. So, how is it going? I mean,
everything is going well. We just hired a new air service director, and he has been razor focused on bringing in additional services that we did not have before. And so with that focus and going out and having those meetings with the airlines and making sure that they're showing them what we're doing from a perspective of revenue generation and what the city offers, has been bringing in a lot of those airlines that we're waiting on JetBlue, but that we're trying to get to our airport. So that would be one of the focuses, I would say. And I think another part of that is because we are starting to make sure that we let people know that San Antonio is more than just the Alamo and the Riverwalk. There's so many other things that you can do. There's, San Antonio is a military city, USA. So there's military branches throughout, but we're just making sure that we get our brand out. And so it's been successful for us to do that.
That's great. Thank you so much. And how about the non-stop flights that traveling? Because usually, my parents visits me once in a while, and they have issues with languages and everything. So from Memphis, usually it goes to Chicago, or the transit is in Atlanta or New York. They end up having that. So the thing is, sometimes if I miss a flight, they end up staying all night. Usually the international flights are in the night, right? So they miss a flight, they end up staying in the airport. Or maybe the airport people, they have to provide accommodation if it is airlines or anything to do with the airport. Otherwise, they end up in the airport, and you have to accommodate them with that's a real incident that happened to my parents in Chicago. They had issues. They had to end up in the airport all night those are the challenges. But there was a mixed experience whether the airport guys gave them the accommodation, how it went on and everything. So how are those challenges?
So fortunately, we haven't had that many misconnections. Most especially because of our location of our international arrivals area in conjunction with the domestic areas. So we typically, first of all, we're working on trying to get more nonstop flights. That way you don't have to worry about the connection, period. But if we don't get them for a specific area, we're making sure that people are accommodated and they can get to their flights. And we've had, a couple times I know that going from San Antonio to Toronto, because we just started a flight there with Air Canada, we make sure that we kind of either hold for a few minutes to make sure that they get there so they don't miss that connection. But if they happen to miss that connection, we do try to accommodate them as best we can.
Thank you. Any questions from audience?
Good morning. I just have a two-part question you about surveys. So you mentioned you guys do lots of surveys. And the two things I was curious about is how do you deal with survey fatigue, which is something we struggle with our employees. And then second, what is is there sort of a loop where you come back to employees to make sure they understand that their voice was heard, that
Sure.
someone's actually reading the survey? I'm curious how you guys do both of those.
Sure. On the first one, to prevent and or eliminate survey fatigue is we incentivize them. You know, we make it worth their while, and so they're pretty open to giving feedback if they feel like they're going to get something out of it. So that's one way. And then we communicate all of the comments that we receive as well as the feedback, not only to the internal customers, but we make sure that all, and I say internal, meaning the city employees, but we communicate to the community as well, so they know what what we've received, and then we try to identify those as quote unquote low-hanging fruit areas. And so we go to those areas, and then we make sure that each department and or division, whenever they see something that's under their purview, then they can go in and they can create an action plan for that particular thing. And then we track it. We have a database that we can track on a spreadsheet to show what the status is, and quarterly we provide them with updates so that they know that there's something being done about what they're said. And even if it's to a point where we said, you know, we haven't made a lot of traction with it, but it's still on our radar, at least they know that it didn't just fall off, and we are listening to them.
So it sounded like you extended your reward program to the community of workers who work on your airport. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
My question is, how did you communicate with them? Do you have some sort of mechanism in which all these employees have a channel by which you can reach them?
So every meeting that is held in our airport, whether it's a concessions meeting, whether it's a stakeholder airline engagement meeting, whether it's a TSA communication meeting, customer experience is on the agenda of all of those meetings. So when I have them as captive audiences, that's when I introduce a lot of information to them, one. And then two, we are working on putting out a newsletter, but we do send out emails to those groups as well to say, hey, we need nominees for the Wyman Awards. So that's one of the things that we're doing right now. And so they are sending their comments to us because we're telling them, if we don't get the information, we can't recognize your employees. So we communicate, email, social media, all of that stuff. I'm kicking and screaming on the social media part, but I have a person that does that. So she sends out all the information.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.